Hi everyone, I'm Robin and welcome to my podcast, Robin's Nest Knits. Today is Friday, February 2nd. I'm podcasting a couple of days early this week. It's been a week and it's going to be a weekend. We're expecting a lot of family here this weekend. We have some birthday celebrations. We have some out-of-state family coming to stay with us for 2 or 3 days. So I thought I better get this podcast out today or it is just not going to happen. So welcome, and I'm glad you're here. I've got my coffee and I'm drinking it out of my mug from my Advent kit from Twice Sheared Sheep this year. I'm not sure if you can read that. It says, "The yarn speaks to me." And I think that's quite appropriate. And I love it. It's just a nice heavy mug. I love the color blue. So anyway, I was thinking as I was going over my previous podcasts, this is episode 4, and I'm kind of new at this. And I realized I never really gave a proper introduction to myself. And so I thought I would do that today. So my name's Robin, and I am Robin's Nest on all the social media, Robin's Nest Knits on YouTube. I'm Robin's Nest Knits at Etsy for my Etsy shop. My Instagram page is Robin's Nest, and my email is robinznest.knits@gmail.com. The thing about the word Robin's Nest is there's a Z in the middle instead of an S. That was taken, I believe, when I set up my email account years and years ago. And so I had to be creative and go with a Z. So that's why we have a Z. So anyway, I'm a wife and a mom and a grandmother. I live in Southwest Idaho. We're in the middle of winter right now, which is usually pretty mild. We had snow. If you watched my last podcast, you saw that. We had a good 12 inches or so of snow. That has all melted, and now we have rain. This is really a nice climate area to live, except for 2 or 3 months in the winter, we have inversion, and we're in the midst of that. We don't see the sunshine unless we climb up in elevation, it seems like, for a long time. Somebody asked me the other day if the sun had come out. I was in the grocery store. I said, no, but I think the fog is a little brighter. So that's kind of how we measure it here. Anyway, we've lived here for about, 35 years or so. This is home now. And my husband is a retired pastor, and he's been retired for about 1.5 years now. So we've been adjusting to the retired life, like it a lot. It's been working out really well. I do still, so I was always a work out of the home mom. I had to be, didn't really want to be, but I had to be. So I was a dental assistant for years. I worked at a university for years so my girls could all go to school there with low tuition. And then when they were all out of college, I decided to just quit working and stay at home and be a stay-at-home grandma. I have 4 daughters. They're all married with children. 3 of them all live here in the area. One lives far away, as far away as you can be from Idaho practically. She's in Florida. And she and her husband have our 2 twin granddaughters, Summer and Gemma. And then I have 10 grandchildren that live right here, close by. And I have had the great honor and privilege of taking care of them while their mamas work and running a little preschool for them. So I have graduated all but the last one. We have our 2-year-old grandson with us Monday through Thursday, and we'll start preschool together next year. But I'm really proud of the fact that I got to be a stay-at-home grandma. It's been a joy and a delight of my life. And it's really sad thinking we're down to the last one now. I don't know what I'll do with myself when he starts kindergarten. But we have a few years to worry about that. So I started knitting when we were expecting our first grandson about 16 years ago. My mother had taught me how to knit when I was a little girl, and I loved it, but she wasn't a knitter really, and I never really did anything with it. I just tried making a few things that didn't work out, you know, the obligatory scarf that you always start out with. I remember trying to knit a vest. It was pink. It was like different pinks, 3 different pink colors, and it didn't turn out. It never was wearable. But that was always tucked away in the back of my mind. It was something I wanted to learn. So when I learned I was going to be a grandmother, I said, this is my time. And I remembered the basics. It's like riding a bike. It never leaves you. And I picked up my needles. I found a blog on the computer. A Susan B. Anderson blog. And I got hooked into her patterns, and she's a very good teacher, and I love her items she makes. They're simple, but they're adorable. And I just started making baby hats and blankets, and it's just never stopped. I've probably knit almost every day since then. So that's my story. That's who I am. So I thought I would start today by sharing with you what I am wearing. And so you can't see all of it. So this is called the Aden pullover, A-D-E-N, and it's by Anka Strick, I think is her name. She's a German designer, and I love her patterns. Her designs fit my body. I don't have to make any adjustments, any changes. I've knit several of her patterns and everything fits. I love her patterns. They're very unique. They all always have like such an interesting construction. And through knitting her patterns, I have really learned how to trust the pattern, because if I just read it over, I'm like, oh, that doesn't make sense. I don't understand how that could possibly work. But they do. And I've never had any struggle with them. And I love her patterns, her designs. They're just really, really fun for me. And she's a prolific designer. Oh, I follow her on Instagram, and she's always working on new designs. But I really like this. It's like a big comfy sweatshirt. I used Rowan cashmere tweed. I could not locate the colorway. It's kind of an oatmeal color, beige tan color. But I love it. It is so comfy. The cashmere tweed is so soft and so easy to wear. I think it is, it's hand wash only. So it's made with extra fine merino and cashmere. And so it's just lovely. It's a lovely yarn. I used to put all my projects in Ravelry. I was just really good about that. And then for some reason I stopped. And so the last, 4 years or so, I've really dropped off, and I really regret not keeping track of my patterns in Ravelry, because it's hard to go back. I don't remember pattern names. I don't remember yarns. So I'm going to try to start doing that again, get better at that again. But I wish I would have tracked my things that I've made better the last few years. But anyway, if you have not checked her out, Anka Strick, it's ANKESTRICK. She's on Ravelry, and check out her patterns. She's really a great designer. Okay, what have I finished in the last couple of weeks? Well, my knitting kind of took a turn. If you remember, I think in episode 1, I was done with all my Christmas gift knitting. And so I said, I want to be selfish. I want to do some selfish knitting and knit just for me. Well, I am my own worst enemy sometimes. I always come up with these great ideas, and I haven't knit anything for me. And so that's kind of sad. But I have knit some fun things. So I told you I was getting some out-of-town company this weekend. They have 4 kids and little kids, and so I wanted to make them something. And I thought immediately of the Susan B. Anderson toys. And I showed you on the last episode the little bird to egg. So you have a little egg and then it reverses into a little bird. So I made that one. And then there is an older, well, let me go to these other ones. So then there's 2 boys and they have, I'm not real sure of their ages. They're kind of probably 4 and 6. So anyway, I found a new pattern, or a new to me pattern that she's designed. These ended up being quite a bit bigger. I'll show you the size difference here. So the little bird's going to go for the baby, but these ended up being just a little bit bigger. So they took a little more time to knit. So these are owls. They go from an egg to an owl. They're so cute. So I have that one. And then I made one, because there's 2 boys. I made a second one. So we have those. They're just so cute. And you know, they're not fiddly to make. They're not, they go really pretty quickly. I think I made these in 2 evenings watching TV a piece. So I have those. Then they have an older girl who's probably about 10, and she's a dancer. She loves ballet, like 2 of my granddaughters. So I went a little more, more detailed in her toy, and I made her a ballerina bunny. So this is a pattern called Little Cotton Rabbit by Julie Williams, and that's her her name on Ravelry, Little Cotton Rabbit. And I've made so many of her little stuffed animals as well that I just think they're so, so sweet. So this one has, it's just a bunny with a little ballet sweater, little tutu made out of some netting. I was going to make her some ballet shoes. There is a pattern for that as well, but I just couldn't fit that in. I just had so much going on, so I didn't do that. But I think she's going to love her. So I made 4 toys in the last couple weeks, so that was pretty cool. And then I was able to finish my vanilla socks using my Woolen and Nosh Advent yarn. They're, love that. It was a equinox theme, I think, going from dark to light to dark. So I made these for my husband. They're going to be for him. He loves hand knit socks. In fact, he brought me 2 pairs this week with holes in them, so I got to figure that out. But so I did finish those. Really enjoyed that yarn. Really enjoyed knitting. If I had it to do over again, I wish I would have started the heel flap sooner. And then I think I wouldn't have doubled up on the yarn. I would have liked to have just had the 25 stripes, but it's fine. They turned out great, and he's going to love those. So I told him he couldn't have them until after I podcast, and so he's patiently waiting for them. So new stuff. Nothing this week, so that's good, I think, because I didn't need to spend any more money. I do have a couple things in the mail, so next week I should have some new stuff to share with you. My mom is 86 years old, and part of the reason it's been such a busy week is she's been dealing with a lot of physical issues, and I've been taking her to the doctor a couple appointments. And one day I was with her, and she doesn't knit so much, but she is a crocheter, and she said, I'm just looking at my mess behind me. My room's a disaster. Try not to pay too much attention. Got a lot going on. But anyway, she's been having a lot of physical issues, and one day she said, I have a lot of leftover yarn left, and it's like scraps and stuff, and I don't want to throw it away. What should I do with it? And I said, I was thinking, I had just been watching The Crazy Sock Lady, and her YouTube videos, and she was showing her beautiful crocheted shawl that she's, well, it's a blanket that she's making out of her scraps. So when she gets down to the last bit of her yarn, she ties it all into a magic knot ball. And I've done that once before, but I thought that would be great for Mom. So she gave me her giant bag of yarn scraps. She doesn't really buy, most of her yarn comes from Joann's or Michael's. And it looks to me like a lot of it is DK weight. But anyway, I said I would make some magic knot balls for her out of her leftover yarn and get her going on a blanket, a crocheted blanket. And she got so excited about that. So she has a big surgery coming up the end of February, and I think she'll need something as she's recovering from that to keep her busy. So I'm going to try to get that all wound up for her. I think she's going to be happy about that. So that was a great idea, Kay. Thank you for sharing that with us. I've also been working on, I haven't got much progress done on my Sweet Shop blanket, but I'm loving it so much. So I'm just building on it a square at a time. It's such a fun pattern. I really recommend it. If you're looking for a blanket to use with your mini skeins, I highly recommend this. It's fun. I've seen on YouTube where a lot of people that like to read, they are choosing colors from the cover of the book they're reading, and they make a square, one of these squares, using the colors that match the book cover of their book. And I thought, what a fun idea that would be. But I don't have time to read and knit, so I do like to read, and I try to read a lot, but not so much lately. And then I've also been adding a stripe on my cowls. I think since the last time I podcast, I've only done 3 stripes. I got my little marker on there. And to be honest, I'm not real sure about this red, this last color. I don't know. I've kind of been thinking about taking that out and just leaving that one out and going on with the other colors, because it really is the only bolder color that's in the set of Advents. So I don't know. But this is yarn from Legacy Fiber Arts. It was their Christmas Advent. They are doing a fun thing. If you go to their shop, they have, they're selling the full skeins in a lot of these colors. And I think one of the most popular ones is this 3rd row right here. String of Lights, it's called. And I don't know if you can tell, it has a sparkle in it. It has some stellina in it. It is a fun one. But they have several of these colors that they're selling as full skeins in their shop. So you might want to check that out. There are really some stunning colorways in that. Oh, I forgot to bring out my socks I'm working on. So I shared with you last time, I think I had just started them and I haven't gotten much farther. I'm using the Find Your Joy sock pattern by Kay Litton. I am really struggling with that. It's got these cross, like cable things in it, a right cross and a left cross. And oh my goodness, I am finding them so tedious. I'm using 9-inch circs. I'm wondering if I switched over to a magic loop, if that might make it a little bit easier, because it gets a little tight when I'm trying to cross my loops over. I don't know. Have any of you struggled with that pattern? It's so pretty, and I think this yarn will look great in it, but gracious, I'm really having a hard time with it. So anyway, so hopefully after this weekend, I'll get to start working on that kind of stuff a little more consistently. Shop news. Okay, my shop is humming, and that's why it's such a mess. When you look behind me, it's a disaster, and I don't like working in it that way, so I think I'm going to have to clean it up and get going on my bags. But so I have a shop on Etsy, Robin's Nest Knits, and I'm going to put the link below, and if you link to it, you can see what I have. I am clearing out my Valentine things. I have 2 or 3 of these Valentine bags left. These are the red gnomes. So it's a nice little bag. Can hold a pretty good size project in there. Not a sweater, but socks for sure, a shawl. I love it. It has a cute little mushroom progress keeper on it. The bottom is quilted. Has a little strap handle. I think I have 3 of these left, and I would like to clear out my Valentine's bags. So I am offering a discount to all my podcast listeners. If you used the code podcast15, you will get 15% off your purchase. So hoping to clear those out because I need to make room for my spring bags. I have probably too many. I have so many. I'm just so ready for spring, and I'm so ready to be over winter. So I'm working on my spring bags. I do have some fun spring gardening gnome fabric, which to all my gnome loving customers, you seem to really like them. So I've got some of that. I've got some bright flower fabric. I've just got some cute stuff coming out. Hoping to get my spring stock in just right after Valentine's Day. So be watching for that. And I'll link, as I said, to my shop below. Watching and reading. Like I said, I have not been reading. I finished Fourth Wing, and I liked it. It was a different genre for me. I've never read fantasy before. There were a couple of spicy parts in there that I could have done without, and some language I didn't really enjoy. But the storyline was fun. It was good, and I really got into it. And I think the sequel's coming, or the sequel is out. I have it on my library list. I have to wait for it. So I'll read that. I think that's Iron Flame, and I'll read that when that comes out. But other than that, I haven't really read anything. Watching is kind of funny. So we went to Disneyland with our daughter and son-in-law and their 3 kids. We left Christmas night, and we spent quite a bit of time while we were there in Star Wars land, which I haven't done before. I usually tend to hang out in other parts of the park. But we did. The kids loved it, and there was a lot of fun interactions with the Star Wars characters. We built a droid. I built a droid for my grandson. He just turned 10. So that was fun. So when we came home, talking with our grandkids, we realized we had seen the original Star Wars movies years ago, back in the 70s, I guess, but hadn't watched too much since then. So my son-in-law and my granddaughter made us out a list of all the Star Wars movies, and told us we need to watch them in timeline order. So we thought, okay, oh my goodness. So we've been watching all the Star Wars movies and series that they have, except for the cartoon ones, the animated ones. We haven't watched those. But we have had a blast watching those. We finished our very last movie last night. So we are all caught up on the Star Wars shows. So that's been our major source of TV watching. We're like at a loss now. It's like, well, what are we going to watch now? But I'm sure we'll find something. But anyway, that was fun. All right, well, I think I'm getting some email or some text here that our company is close, ready to get here, so I need to get going. But anyway, I just wanted to check in and do my episode 4. I've really been having fun with this. I never in my wildest dreams imagined I would be a podcaster. I told my kids my grandkids I'm a YouTuber, and they're like so impressed. But But it's been fun, and it's kind of opened up a whole new knitting world for me. I don't have a lot of in real life knitting friends, and most of my in real life knitting friends don't knit with the wool, the natural fiber yarns. They just mostly go to the big box stores, and so they don't understand my love for it. And so it's good to get to know people, to make friends with you all. Leave a note below if you've enjoyed my podcast. Let me know if there's something you'd like to hear about more, or if you have any questions about anything I've talked about and haven't explained fully. I'm open for all the constructive criticism I can get, because I want to do this well. I want to do it good. And so let me know what you think. Subscribe. I guess that's a good thing, because then your podcast gets seen more by more people. And so I would appreciate that. All right. Until next time, in another 2 weeks, have fun knitting. Have fun with all you're doing. And we'll see you then. Bye-bye.